Right when I hit live. Right when I hit live. Okay, folks, let me do this for you. And we're back. Our lights are back. It never fails. Right at 7 o'clock, all of our lights go out. So thank you for your patience. This, folks, hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, we have so many people in the chat already. This is going to be a different show because we don't have a guest. It's just myself. Well, it's myself and Nanette. Nanette should be coming up any minute with our gourmet meal. I think she's going to have like a 6 or 7 course meal. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Salad, entree, probably some soup, probably a dessert. I'm hoping for something pretty cool here. This is going to be different because you guys are going to decide on what we're talking about. And it's not free format. We kind of have a format coming here. So we're going to pick a topic and we're going to talk about that topic. This is going to be very casual. I say it's going to be casual, but you know me. I plan and kind of think through this whole thing. I started thinking about what we could talk about. Well, I guess last night when we had our guest that was going to talk tonight canceled because they had some things coming up. So this is going to be a fun session. Hi, J-Bug. Hey, hi, Laura. Julie, Angie, Chantel, Frank the Tank.
Hey there.
Hi there. I'm just Sam's here. How's everybody doing? I'm just kind of getting through. Julie, how are you doing? Is that our meal?
It is.
This is dinner with Nanette and Wally. That doesn't look like waffles. It doesn't look like a 5-course meal. No, oh my gosh, what are you eating?
I'm eating a Hawaiian.
I've got to find a place to set this.
A Hawaiian pizza.
Okay. Anybody Hawaiian pizza, yes or no? Give me a comment right now. Pineapple on your pizza, yes or no? No. Me, no. Gah. So this is going to be dinner with Wally and Nanette. But we're going to kind of casually talk about a couple of subjects. So somebody just said,
milk.
Oh. Cheers, everyone. Welcome. Big nope. J-Bug says no pineapple. That's not what a pizza is all about. Pizza is about more meat, more cheese.
It has Canadian bacon.
More sauce.
Oh, that's on my pants.
Yeah, I know, Frank. Where are the waffles?
I didn't think about waffles.
Spilled on your pants.
I got pizza sauce on my light blue jeans.
Okay, you need to talk because I want to take a bite.
Oh, okay. No waffles today. He had waffles for breakfast, Frank. He doesn't need waffles for dinner, too. And pineapple pizza is the best with Canadian bacon and lots of cheese. That's the way to eat it.
Bugs and beans, thanks for joining in. I always want to say bugs and beans. And probably with my northern accent.
Why don't you just eat and not talk?
My mom was from Mississippi. My dad was from Michigan. So I have a little bit of that twang in my voice, but I have that Michigan accent as well. So when I say beans, it probably sounds like beans.
You know what I saw them make waffles with this week on Facebook or one of the TikToks? Probably it was. I don't even know. No, it's not homemade. It was frozen pizza. Sorry.
Tastes just like homemade. It tastes so good.
I can't tell you the last time I made a homemade pizza. But I saw this thing with waffles. They made this like zucchini mixture with lots of vegetables, and they pressed it in a waffle maker and made that the base of their waffles, and then they had stuff added on top.
So I like the stuff added on top. There's that first part that you said something about the Z word that I don't.
Zucchini.
know. Yeah, no.
They pureed it. It was really looked good.
What is pureed?
Don't you like? That's like almost liquid. Don't you like zucchini bread?
I love zucchini bread.
So,
and the funny thing is that the very first time I had a meal made with zucchini that's different, kind of okay, we're going to try this recipe, but we're going to use zucchini. Was your mom made? Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
What did she make?
Lasagna.
No. She didn't. That wasn't the first one. She
Oh,
made the
apple
second one.
slices.
Apple. Well, she made an apple pie with the zucchini, and it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know where to put my plate here. I'm going to put it
Not on
right there
top
for
of
a
mine,
second.
please.
I know. I am sporting the Leonard Skinner 2018 farewell tour.
Oh, cool. I'm sporting Blessed Grandma.
So your shirt kind of has more class than mine, I think. But
Can you name 2 songs?
Yeah, that's our rule now. So it's probably everybody's rule. If you have a band shirt on, you have to. Or you can wear it at all. You have to go upstairs and change it if you can't name 2 songs. Crystal wore a Beatles shirt the other day. I said, name two songs. And I think she said, Let It Be and Yesterday. So hats off to Crystal, who's 12, that knows those 2 Beatles songs.
Hi, this is Crystal Kern.
No, it is not. Crystal Potter is Crystal Kern.
What's that picture?
I just talked about you, Crystal.
Is she on?
Why aren't you here behind us in the show?
Oh,
that's so cool. So Crystal,
Where
who
is
is
she
Crystal?
at?
Yeah, who is Crystal with right now?
Well, she was with her great grandparents, so I didn't know she was home. Maybe
We are-
she came home and Grandpa, she found out that we were on the live. I don't know. I didn't think she was home yet. I'm checking this out to see.
I
if
feel
this
like
is
I'm getting pizza just like all over
legitimately
my face.
Crystal Kern. What's
Is that like the real Crystal Kern?
Well, I'm
Like
trying
is
to
she
see
on Instagram?
what her picture looks like. I can't get it big enough on my phone.
I thought I heard something behind
Crystal Kern, if that is really you, what is your second class in summer school?
us. While you do that, I'm going to share a screen. We're going to talk about a couple of things here, folks.
If you can tell me, then I'll believe that it's really you.
Okay.
How are you guys? I'm good, but I want to know what your second class is in summer school to know that it's you, my dear. I wonder if she's tricking us.
My pizza has mushrooms
No
that
mushrooms.
you picked for us, Angie, like 2 years ago.
No, he does not.
I saved them up in a bin. Well, it was in the Gecko room, so I'm sure that they're fine.
Oh, good Lord. I'm eating my pizza.
Okay,
I'm not
you eat your
talking
pizza.
to you anymore.
What are we talking about tonight? We are talking about a subject that you guys are going to pick out. And this is how it's going to work. We're going
This is
to,
scary.
isn't it though? This is going to be fun. I think it's going
on
to
the
be fun.
show. You can't do that.
Well, because Angie was going, I knew Angie was going to be in the show. I set up some rules myself because I think Angie wanted to talk about like ticks up north or something like that. So
yeah, that would be her.
I have nowhere to put. Okay, this moves. I'm going to move this and I'm going to put this over here. Thank you, Nanette. And I'm going to knock my soda all over my computer. So we're going to go down. But here's what we're going to do. Excuse me, folks. I think we have a crystal imposter.
It's
That's what
Crystal.
It likes everybody. Hit that like button.
I
Hit
looked
that
at
like
her
button.
profile. Okay.
Is it really?
Well, that's what J-Bug's telling us.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, here's how we're doing this. I picked out some topics, and you guys, everybody watching, has a chance to vote for what topic they want to talk about. We've got a timer. We're going to set it for 3 minutes. And during that time, Nanette's going to take score on these 3 topics. So let me show you the topics that we're going to talk about tonight. And while we do this, while we get all set up for the topics, we're going to talk about a couple of other things that we have going on here.
I
But
like doing the show when we're eating.
why?
Because it's hard.
Okay. I'm hoping everybody can see these topics. So our topics are A, music, B, movies, C, TV, D, sports, E,
Whoa.
history. You don't even care about you just care about the letters because everybody's going to put in a letter. What should we talk about? F is geckos, G is isopods, H is hobby in general. And under each one of these, I have like 3 or 4 or 5 questions that we'll choose which one we start off with. And if we have time, we'll go through 2 or 3 questions. So put a letter in. We already have letters coming in. I'm going to set the timer. Whoops.
Oh, this is not funny.
What?
They're coming in fast.
We've got 3 minutes to take these. Are you good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. While we've got 3 minutes, we have 3 minutes to eat while everybody
Well, not
puts in.
really if I'm playing Kelly.
So Frank says W for waffles.
Yeah, I saw that. Crystal C.
Where is she?
She probably
I
wasn't.
wonder if that's so. That really is Crystal.
Well, that's what they're saying.
That is so cool.
Somebody checked her profile, so I'm hoping I'm catching these.
I hope so too. So, the last couple of days, while we're waiting for everybody to finish this, the last couple of days, we've been looking at. J-Bug has 3 letters. You can only choose one.
Well, I counted all 3, so too bad, so sad.
Nanette's making up the rules as we fly through this. We've been looking at going to, on our honeymoon, on our, what year?
I don't know what year.
Well played, sir.
You tell me.
Well played. Our 40th.
Mm-hmm.
40 years married to this lady. I don't understand how we got to 40 because I don't understand how she tolerated the first couple, 3-4 years or 40 at all.
You're the best, that's why. Okay, I think I already got that G. Okay, oh, that's an R, not an A.
So for our 40th, we're thinking about going to New Orleans.
We aren't thinking. I booked tickets. We're going.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is so awkward. I feel
Too
like I'm
late.
talking with my mouth full.
That's why I said this is hard to do.
Laura, I am the luckiest. Isn't that a song? I'm the luckiest man in the whole USA. Yeah, everybody just loved.
Yeah. Crystal probably did.
Crystal's singing with me.
Crystal, what'd you have for dinner?
So, has anybody gone to New Orleans? I've been a couple of times, but one was for business, so it was in and out. The other, all that I got to really do was walk Bourbon Street and walk the river walk. That would be a good thing to do. Walk the river walk. No singing, just dancing. People are already booing me.
Yeah.
If this were live, I'd have tomatoes and lettuce all over my face.
So nobody
Julie,
likes sports.
any suggestions for something that we should do down there? Anything different in New Orleans? Anybody that's been to New Orleans, give us a suggestion for activities that we could be doing in New Orleans that are fun. Timer's going. Okay, so now is the tough part, Nanette. I get to eat. I'm going to hide. Well, maybe I won't hide it just yet. I'm going to hide that comment, though. See you, JP. Okay, do you have a total? Oh, my gosh.
Right now, it looks like hobby in general. Nobody wanted to talk about sports.
Nobody wants to talk about sports.
Nobody wanted history.
That was going to be my favorite. Nobody wanted history. So
I missed something.
I spent an hour working out history top. No, I did not.
Movies that got nicked. Wow.
What?
Hobby in general.
Cool.
Crystal.
Frank, that's all that I did was eat when I went down there. All that I did. The food in New Orleans is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm thinking about
Is this her YouTube channel that she's on?
Must be.
You okay?
Let's somebody die on live TV. I shouldn't use those words.
That.
Okay. So now.
So now what are we doing?
I'm going to do this. We're going to find what was the one that we want to do? H.
Hobby.
Look at some of these that we had. We were going to talk about the greatest songs of all time, the most overrated performer or group, the guilty pleasure.
They said no, so move on.
Like Hey Mickey or Bay City Rollers, Saturday night, or Want to Be by
Leave
Spice Girls.
Discussion open to pick and choose.
Yeah.
The story.
Excuse me. Boy, I had some good sports questions. Geckos. Here we come. Isopods. Do you have a good turnoff for isopods?
What letter was it?
I don't know. I think it was G.
You had 4.
Hobby in general. Okay. folks, we are going to see if we can get through some of these questions, at least one. So to start us off, hi, Illinois Valley. To start us off, this is going to be the topic that we're going to start with, hobby in general.
You're not starting with that.
No. What we're going to do now is I have my timer. I'm going to set it for 3 minutes. And you guys,
like I'm at work.
You guys are going to, everybody watching gets a chance to pick which one of these topics. I don't know if I can make this any bigger here.
I don't want A at all.
Why? I can't make it any bigger. This is as big as I can get.
Yeah, Laura.
So you guys choose. We're going to go for 3 minutes. You choose A, social media, a good thing or a bad thing. B, the biggest change in the hobby in the last 5 years. C, the most significant myth dispelled in the last 5 years. Or D, the best place to do research. And we are off and running. 3 minutes to pick the first topic. Isn't this fun? They get to choose what we're talking about. Now, the best part of this.
They kind of get to choose from your list.
Well, kind of, sort of. We can have other questions.
Nobody's talking to you.
Well, that's going to be a problem because after 3 minutes, we're going to pick a topic within hobby in general. And what we're going to do is we're going to stop talking and they're going to talk in the chat. That's all that we're going to do. No, we're not going to do that.
You scared them. They're starting to answer.
What's winning?
1, 2, 3, 4. C.
Julie, talk amongst yourselves. I'm so perplexed. Nobody's going to get that reference.
No, I didn't get it.
It's an old SNL.
Wow.
Okay, what does dead air on live
It sounds like this.
sound like?
A and D.
We should already know the answers to
So
A
B
and
C.
D.
Are we trying to play some game here with
Oh, we know the best place to do research. We do. Laura, we do. Social media, good or evil? I think we could have a good discussion on that. I think that I could go 2 hours talking about social media, good or evil.
Yuck.
Luke,
Yuck.
join the dark side.
Nope. Nobody else is responding. Wow.
The social media
I think
force
you've
is
lost
strong
everybody.
with this one. Nobody wants what?
I said, I don't think you lost people because I'm not getting anywhere.
We've got a lot of responses so far.
Oh, I guess I'm getting there.
That was a great suggestion, Frank. I pulled. Let's see if I can find it. I pulled ads off just because it's easier and more fun not to have all the ads. All he tells us every chance he gets, at least 3 keepers. You mentioned that we already know the best place to do research, and that immediately came to mind. But crazy bugs. But I was thinking maybe you were thinking of another site or something else like that.
Did you set a timer? Because I feel like this 3 minutes is not.
Oh, you're like
that.
spot on. Look at that.
Yeah, that was a little long.
Do you have your tally?
Yes, I do.
Because.
Sorry. 3.
Take my bite.
Oh, look at that. I'm used to
That's 3
timers all
minutes.
day long at work.
So that doesn't mean that that's the only topic that we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to start with. And again, folks, this is going to be directed more with you guys bringing this up. I should stop talking because I'm going to choke in just a second. Okay.
But I brought my own stuff to talk about tonight. I got 11 pages to talk about tonight.
Well,
11
what we're going to do, Teresa, this is a perfect session for you then. Perfect session because we're going to talk about some really cool stuff tonight. Okay, tell us, Nanette, what came in first here?
C.
C. And what was
Most
C again?
significant myth dispelled in the last 5 years.
Okay. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to hide, Wally, hide that. Okay, there we go. We're going to talk about the gecko hobby in general and what's the most significant, not the biggest, not the most controversial. What's the biggest myth that has been dispelled in the hobby? Now, if I were really prepared, I would have like 14 different ideas under each one of these questions, but I am not prepared. You guys chime in. What's the biggest myth dispelled in the last 5 years?
Critter at 720 where we live.
Thank you, J-Bug. Thank you very much. So think about a myth that's been dispelled in the last, a significant myth that's been dispelled in the last few years. I'm going to start it off while you guys think about this because I'm kind of putting you on the spot a little bit. I'm going to start this off by saying when I started in the hobby, that pizza is really good. When I started in the hobby, I started with leopard geckos. And that was a blast to keep leopard geckos and start breeding and the whole care thing. And the one thing that everybody did, though, and this is going back again, 20 years ago, the one thing that everybody said is do not keep. So this is going back to stop. The big thing at that point was don't use heat rocks. Don't use heat rocks. So that's how long ago this is. But the thing that was coming out, it is because I'm old. The thing that kept coming out was keep your leopard geckos away from sand and substrate. Not just sand, but substrate. If you have Critter Corner, I'll cover that in just a second. Great question. I'm going to save that question and come back to it if that's okay. So the big thing was don't keep your leopard geckos over sand or substrate. So, nobody kept the leopard geckos over any kind of a substrate. What's the best substrate to keep them over? Well, paper towel, bare bottom, enclosures. Keep them over tile. Like you go out to Home Depot and you would buy tile for your bathroom or kitchen. Use that tile. Break it up so that they could walk on that tile. So think about that. That's not nature. That's not nature at all. Certainly, leopard geckos don't live on tile in nature. They don't live on plastic. They don't live on paper towel. Why do we feel in the hobby that it's okay to say that they shouldn't live on some kind of a substrate? I never, ever really understood that. Great point, Frank. Great point. So I never understood why people were saying don't keep them over any kind of a substrate. So what did I do? I kept them in bare bottom tanks. Unfortunately, because I didn't want to break the norm. Oh, everybody's saying this, so it must be right. Over the years, I think what was proven out more than anything, at least in my mind, was that a healthy gecko with the right setup will do well with a substrate. Now, what you should watch out for is obviously substrate that's the calcium substrate, because leopard geckos like to lick. They like to lick things to get their minerals. They like to lick the walls of the enclosure. They like to lick their decor. They like to lick their insects. They like to lick each other. They like to lick for taste. They're tasting. But most importantly, they're licking. Most significantly, they're licking substrate to get that calcium need delivered. To get the vitamins and minerals that they really need, they're licking the substrate. So if you're keeping leopard geckos and you're not providing the right temperatures, number one, right temperatures. So we all learned so much in the last 20 years. Angie, thank you very much for saying that. So if you're keeping, your leopard geckos and you're not providing the right temperature, that's a big problem. The leopard geckos are going to act differently than they do in nature. If you don't provide a dust, supplemental dust for your leopard
who's home?
geckos for the feeders. Yeah, I hear the dog just yapping away. Then, if you're not feeding feeder insects and dusting them with a nice calcium vitamin mix, we put them in deli cups. We put the crickets in. We put calcium vitamin mix in there, and we kind of do the shake and bake. And then we'll add the crickets to the leopard geckos. And nobody knows what the shake and bake thing is. So we'll add them to the leopard gecko enclosures, and they'll eat the crickets with the dust and everything. And that minimizes the issues. Most important that you can do with leopard geckos to stop them from eating the substrate. And the major issue with eating substrate, obviously, is that if they're eating sand or other pieces of
It doesn't
substrate,
taste good.
it doesn't taste good. So how does it taste, Nanette?
I don't know, but I would think
You
sand would
just
taste
said
icky.
You just
because
said
they've
it
been
doesn't taste
walking
good.
all over it and gross. No, I'm sure it doesn't taste very good. It's probably very gritty, and it gets stuck in their teeth.
It doesn't taste good, I guess. Is that Crystal
Hi.
coming in?
Yes. Were you online?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my! What happened to your hair today?
Nothing.
Wowza, girl.
You're hiding behind me.
And
Hi,
now
guys.
You got to squat down so people can see you.
We're going to get back to the topic
hi.
just real quick. How are you doing, Crystal?
Good. And I try to add. Did you guys see my comments?
No, we
We
didn't
did
see anything.
see
No, we
some.
didn't. I didn't
I
see a
did
single
too.
comment.
I wasn't sure.
I did
that it was
3
you.
actually.
Somebody actually went out.
I
and
saw
verified
somebody
that it was-
faking that it was you, so I blocked them.
Somebody went out and verified it was legitimately you.
Who did that?
Was that on your phone?
Jane,
Were you commenting on your phone?
Yeah.
Did you remember we were going online?
Yeah, I did.
Good job. Did you have fun this afternoon?
Grandma, I saw it at 7. I'm like this. Why not join that?
Why not join that?
Why not?
So did you
Thanks
have
for
fun
joining
today?
us.
Mhm.
Good.
She's extremely tall. She's taller than her mom.
She's taller than
She's
me.
taller than me now. Look at
No,
that.
you're
Look
sitting
at this.
down.
Look at how
You're
tall. How
sitting
much tall?
down.
No, I'm not.
Father. Yes, you are.
All right. So what's
But,
up? Make a quick chicken butt.
I'm in the 5 feet area now, Frank.
You're 5
You
foot
have
4.
5 feet.
I'm
oh
5'4",
my
apparently.
gosh.
And my mom is 4'11". I'm not trying to move me.
Your mom. So you've outgrown your mom. Did you outgrow your dad yet?
I have like about 7 more inches. No, actually,
With
wait.
that hair tonight, you might have outgrown Dad. That
Oh,
humidity hit you today.
oh wait. Did someone ask where waffles is?
No, they wanted to know if we were eating waffles for dinner.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought
Waffles
Frank
is
said.
on vacation.
Really? Where?
I don't know.
Can I go try to find one? You are
He's a-
shorty, grandfather. Frank Cole told me that. Frank, you're gonna get me in trouble now.
Stop
Goodbye,
bullying me.
Crystal. Love
Bullying
you.
me. Oh my gosh, that was a special treat. So we gained 20 people watching the show. So let's talk about this substrate for leopard geckos. The number one problem with bad substrate or bad care is that leopard geckos will tend to lick the substrate, licking the substrate they're intaking, and potentially it could cause an impaction. That's a very, 20 years ago, you'd see picture after picture after picture of leopard geckos with x-rays with impaction in their stomachs, in their abdomens. It was just terrible to see. But a lot of the reason for that was, number one, bad care due to bad heat or incorrect substrate. What's that? Incorrect substrate. Well, incorrect substrate is that calcium sand. Any sand that has calcium will taste different, and the leopard gecko
How do you know?
Well played. I'm assuming that calcium sand will taste different to the leopard gecko, and they'll intake more because they're requiring those vitamins and minerals if you're not giving them with your feeder insects or a dish. What did he say? Dish? We give mealworm dishes to every single one of our leopard geckos. Yeah. We give calcium dishes to every single one of our leopard geckos so that they have a place to lick the calcium, and they will go to the dish. I've seen them over and over and over. So we go through at least maybe once every 3, 4, 5 weeks. we'll change out that calcium and replace it because it gets a little bit older and it dries up a little bit. It hardens. Yeah, it's stale. It gets stale.
I would think.
I will do that. I will do a taste test on one
Oh,
of my
good Lord.
short videos of calcium sand and tell you if it tastes different or not. So
I'm not taking you to the doctor after that.
So you would let me get a impaction. And so another problem with substrate is like the calcium sand. That's a big issue. Another problem with substrate was 20 years ago, nobody was really interested in knowing more about substrate. You'd start off and you'd go to the store and you would get, cork bark or some other reptile substrate with these big pieces of bark and sharp edges. And oh my gosh, I cannot even imagine. I cannot even imagine people using any kind of a substrate with sharp wooden pieces, thin, sharp, arrow-like wooden pieces. Please, please, please don't use that. Please don't use stuff like that. Jungle Mix, while it's a great substrate for other animals, it's not a good substrate for terrestrial animals, and especially leopard geckos. So the best thing that you can do for leopard geckos for a substrate is some type of I think there's many companies that are making the just regular sand or impaction sand so that you can pack it down. What we do is
Impaction sand, so you get impacted.
impaction sand. Let me say that a different way.
It doesn't sound
Compaction sand, a different way, a correct way. Thank you, Nanette, for pointing that out. Some kind of a compaction sand so that you can compact it down and it doesn't come apart at all or easily. It's the type of, somebody help me here with any of the brand names, because I'm sure that you know the brand names. I believe Zoomed makes a compaction sand, a red sand, where you can use it to like put a tube in or a balloon, put the sand in, get it wet, and you can pop the balloon and pull it out or pull the tube out. And now you have nice tunnels or caves or something like that.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've got a box down there. I just haven't done a video on using it yet. So really good substrate. Put it down, make sure that it's not real super loose. We'll use, we have a lot of terrestrial animals that usually don't lick the substrate as much, like Periodora picta, Pachydaculus, and we'll use any kind of a sand substrate other than the calci sand for them. Okay, if you have
Critter Corner's got a comment there.
Yeah, this is a most significant myth dispelled in the last 5 years.
What you're talking about.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Nanette. Before I knew you were supposed to put not supposed to put leopard geckos on sand, mine lived on sand for a whole year. As soon as I realized, I switched to the dirt. Right on. It's just a different, again, it's a different taste, I'm assuming, to the leopard geckos. A compaction dirt is so much better than loose sand with calcium in it. Spot on. Okay, what am I missing? Half the show so far. Thanks for joining, though.
Wally's Pizza.
My pizza. Okay.
Excavator.
I'm coming back.
What's that?
What's that? Excavator. There you go. Perfect. Who said that?
Frank, of course.
Frank. There you go. Perfect. And that's exactly what it is. It's an excavator clay. Perfect. Yeah, it's not really a sand. It's more of a clay. Good call. Thank you very much for throwing that in. Any other, let me show this again. So we're looking for any other most significant myths dispelled in the last 5 years. What do you folks think? Any myths that have been dispelled in the last 5 years? Anything with crested geckos? How about with isopods? Any myths dispelled with isopods? Right on. Absolutely. I'm going to throw a myth out there for isopods. So I've talked to several big time isopod breeders, and we just had Kimberly Miller on from IsoRare Pods. Good call, Angie. I'm going to come back to that. Don't bring up feeding them poop. Now I want to bring up feeding them poop.
Just move on.
So we've talked to, but talking about food, we've talked to a number of different big time isopod breeders. And for years and years and years, I saw, the best thing to feed these cubaris isopods, because they live in caves, is, what do you think? What's the best food to feed an isopod that lives in caves? What else is in caves?
Bats.
Bats. So what would be, because
Oh,
what
come
would,
on. We're not going there.
So what do bats do?
They poop. I don't know. What are you talking about?
Exactly what I'm talking about. So because these isopods are living in caves, they're eating bat poop. So if you're doing cubaris, you have to feed them guano.
But they're in bioactive tanks for that reason, isn't it?
Well, again, I've talked to many. I should chew my food first. This is such a great idea. Dinner and a show. You want to talk for a minute?
Thank goodness it wasn't like a gourmet meal. 7 courses or something weird. Yeah, speaking of weird things, how old is the oldest mosquito fossil?
300 million years.
No.
How old?
79 million years old.
Too cool.
I got like all these questions.
We'll get to them. So, bat guano, good, bad to feed them. It's not needed. It's not needed. It really isn't. Julie says make sure that Nanette has her Heimlich. She's up to date with her Heimlich.
Yeah, I can
techniques.
take care of them.
So,
I can
again and again and again and again and again, I've heard stop, just stop, because it builds up in an enclosure. They don't eat it as quickly as other foods, and it's going to smell. And worst of all, it's going to turn the tank very acidic, which is not a good property for isopod enclosures. A very acidic enclosure is not good. So, no bat guano. Anybody else hear that? It's gross. And most importantly, it's gross to use. Anybody else hear that bat guano
the day you start bringing that in, I'm out.
Maybe I already brought it in. Maybe I already
No,
tried it.
you
Maybe
didn't.
I have a 10-pound bag sitting downstairs
Yeah, well, good luck
that
with
I've had like 2 tablespoons out of that I stopped. No, I didn't.
Good luck with that, buddy. Crystal will never feed the isopods with me again if we did that. She had enough problems feeding them dried dead mealworms.
I want to know more about this. My powders love cleaning up after my blue tongue skink. So that's a busted myth to me. I would assume that your powders would love to clean up.
Right?
Yeah, I would think so. Bluey poo. Whoops. Let's see if I can get this back. Bluey poo is fine for cleanup crew. I think so. Why not?
You had a leopard question. Gecko question.
So, I don't know if I've heard that, skinks, blue tongue skinks aren't compatible with isopods, cleanup crew. I think they would be fine. We need more information. Okay. What is the best thing to feed leopard geckos? Critter Corner. I want to hear answers. You guys, if you keep a leopard gecko, what do you feed your leopard gecko? What kind of feeder foods? What foods are you feeding your leopard geckos? I'll tell you what we feed.
No, don't. Let them answer first.
Then I'll go back to eating my pizza.
Yes, go back to eating your pizza and I'll ask a question.
You ask a question, we'll have people tell us what they're feeding leopard geckos.
What month is National Ice Cream Month in the United States? What month of the year is National Ice Cream Month? That's a bad thing.
Any month that starts with the letter in the alphabet.
Just keep eating your dinner. If it's mealworms, dubious, that's a good answer. July is your ice cream month.
I told you.
How many popsicles are sold during the summertime? Annually, I should say. 2 billion
You can't.
popsicles.
No, you have to say that over. You can't say it like that.
2 billion.
No, you can't say it like that. Whenever you say something like that, you have to go 2 billion
No.
popsicles.
July is the month. Yes, that's 100.
Don't worry about misspelling. If I were typing, you go like, "Wow, Wally, I can't even read that." Okay, we have
One
some
more
great.
question.
Go ahead.
When you're standing on a beach looking at the horizon, approximately how far can you see out?
Nearsighted or farsighted?
When you're standing on a beach and you're looking out, how far can you see to the horizon?
Is it cloudy? Is it sunny?
Finish eating your dinner and I'll just keep talking because no. Not today, as we would say at work. Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Not on
We're gonna
my
have
watch.
T-shirts made that say "Not today." Nobody has any idea how far.
I'll say. Boy, horizon 30 miles.
Wow, you got great eyesight. 3 miles.
I've been told that my eyesight is like 10 times normal. So that would be 22. 20, no, that'd be 22, right? 22. Yeah, I think so.
You know
Okay.
You know why I have 11 pages of questions? Because it
No
printed
idea.
twice.
Outstanding. Okay, leopard gecko feeder foods, dubias, mealworms, crickets. If you feed waxworms and other bugs that are too fatty, your leopard geckos won't get the nutrition they need. They'll just get fat. J-Bug, I have stopped. I stopped feeding waxworms for years and years and years. Angie, you tried to convince me to grow waxworms, and I hesitated so much simply because the very first couple of the large kind of high-end leopard geckos that I purchased, like for hundreds of dollars when I started, I had one that got on waxworms and would not eat anything else. And I'm a big believer in if they don't eat, their other foods, then stop feeding them and they'll eventually go to that food. I eventually went back to waxworms and the animal just wouldn't take the waxworms after that and eventually died. One of the very few times that I tried, I went through that process, tried to save it, and the animal died. And it was such a huge, impactful thing to me that I couldn't care for this animal that I stopped feeding waxworms for years and years and years. Now I'll give waxworms like 2 or 3 times a year in spring. And I'll feed, waxworms, I'll give them 2 or 3. And literally it's okay, you get 1, 2, 3, and that's all. And then I move on to the next tank because I don't want to overfeed waxworms because I think that it's like crack to them.
And they don't have any nutrients according to comments.
They do, but they're just so high in fat and they taste good.
Like ice cream.
I know I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, they're like gecko ice cream for them. I've always, my saying is if an animal, I just said it, if an animal only eats, if a crested gecko is only eating crested gecko diet and not insects, pull them off crested gecko diet for 2 or 3 weeks and it'll start eating insects. So, and I just went through this with a good friend through a consultation, and he received a crested gecko that doesn't eat the diet unless he hand feeds. I said, here's what you have to do. Stop hand feeding, give them the diet, put some honey in it, and try this for 2 weeks. And it just didn't work out. And I really think that this animal has some neurological issue. We watched videos. He did a video for me, a nighttime video. And I think there's a serious issue with the animal. If you see a question in that, okay. Okay. Another taste test. I guess I have to do another taste test. Okay.
Not while I'm here.
Okay. Angie says, when I was breeding waxworms, I tried one, tasted like honey.
Gross.
I'd try one. Seriously, why? You know,
Yuck. I'm not on Survivor. I'm not on Naked and Afraid. I'm not eating a bug. And I wouldn't even go on the show anyway.
all I can think of is Bill Murray in the pool with the
Get
with
away
the,
from it.
with the baby Ruth,
Oh, yuck.
and people thinking that it's somebody had not
No.
done something nice in the pool, and looking up and tasting it. It's okay, really. Okay. Where were we at with myths? Naked and Snacks. There you go.
Mm-hmm. No.
Some of the things that they have to do on that show. Wow.
No.
You should try super worms. They don't taste bad. I had offered one of Christopher's friends when he was younger $1 to taste a mealworm, and he ate a mealworm.
That was nice. I'm sure he
Best dollar I ever spent in my life. It
Told
was
his
so
parents
cool.
that one.
I bet. We don't see Mike that much anymore, do we?
No.
Okay. Other myths. Most significant myth dispelled in the last 5 years.
What have you guys heard?
What have you guys heard?
They're awful quiet tonight.
Well, I don't think so. I think everybody's kind of talkative.
They won't be biting after you bite the head.
Okay, Ozzy Osbourne.
I got it.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think is the number one most? What do you think is the number one most recommended reptile as a pet?
What do you think? What does everybody think? Leave a comment.
If you're going to go full-blown reptile, unfortunately, I'm going to say snake.
Is it a snack? Yeah.
If you're going to go geckos, I'm going to say crusty.
I think.
Okay,
I
Frank,
think.
stop. I
think
dinner.
the most recommended reptile in the hobby is the one that I'm going to sound so bad with saying this and so negative. You know what I'm going to say?
Chameleon?
Nope.
I have no idea.
I'm going to say whatever the keeper, whatever the seller has the most of. Now I'm going back to fish days. I'm going into pet stores. What kind of fish? Oh, we've got a whole tank of blue rams in. So you should try a blue ram. There's so many great tropical fish, and I've seen over and over and over people recommending fish that they've bred and have an abundance of. I think a snake person will recommend a snake. I think a leopard gecko person will recommend a leopard gecko. A crested gecko person will recommend a crested gecko. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I think that they have the most experience with those types of animals. So if you walk into a pet store and you ask, what should I get? Can you recommend a reptile for me to get? If that pet store, or if you do that with a breeder that has several different types of animals, and their answer is not, well, let's talk about this. What kind of experience are you looking for from this reptile? If they're not asking a question similar to that, then be wary. We're asked all the time about, obviously I can't talk on snakes, but we can certainly talk on just about any gecko. We've been asked that over and over and over and over again. I want a new reptile, and what can you recommend? So we start talking to them about what their needs are. Is this a family pet? Is it an individual? Are you into the breeding? Do you want to get into the morphs? So we go through probably a list of 5, 6, 7, 8 questions to try to take this universe of reptiles down as far as we possibly can. Well, I've had crested geckos before and they're fun, but I want something different. Oh, well, we could try viper geckos. We could try a picted gecko. We could try this or that. Do you want to hold the animal? Do you want to be able to hold the animal? Do you want to just enjoy it? Do you want to see it active all the time? Or do you just want to see it and take pictures? And there's so many different options. So a good keeper will ask a lot of questions before saying, I recommend that. Now, if you wanted a general answer, I'm going to say probably leopard geckos. We see so many leopard geckos being sold now. Maybe in the last 2 years-ish, last year, 2 years, maybe in the last couple of years, maybe it's crested geckos. I haven't really looked at pet stores. I haven't asked pet stores, what they're recommending or looking to see what they have, but probably crested geckos. Lots of anoles in pet stores too. Oh yeah. And anoles are super hot in the hobby right now. There's a lot of good breeders that are breeding some amazing anoles. Go ahead, Nanette, please. I can't keep up. Teresa, Wally, you're describing the difference between big box stores and small independent styles in my experience. I would agree. I wouldn't generalize to that point because I've seen small stores. This is a hard one because we have small stores here that are wonderful, and they will lead you down a path to find the right animal for you. In this area, we have some amazing pet stores. And they absolutely will do that. But I've also walked into pet stores that won't do that too. Small pet stores, small mom and pop stores, because, they have to make some money. So just be wary and just ask some questions. Make sure that you're asked the right questions too. What do you have, Nanette?
Nothing. I'm listening to you. I'm agreeing with you. Be happy.
Yeah. Where's my pen?
Yeah. Write that
On
down.
this date, Nanette agreed to me. Okay.
It'll only happen once a year.
And those are cool. If you get a chance, go to Herp Times videos, either on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, and see some of the anoles that they're doing. Super cool. I do find anoles, CGs, BPs, boat frogs are all widely available with small amounts of information. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing is that, again, it's up to the pet store or the breeder to have the right information, but some do and some don't. So you'd be a little weary with that as well.
Don't forget that.
Got it. UVB. So, most significant myth dispelled in the last 5 years. Angie, I couldn't have come up with a better myth than this. I'm going to go back 5 years ago. Back 5 years ago, okay.
You can remember that far?
Yeah, I can.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Simply because I have just a razor sharp memory here. I have a bad joke. I have a memory like a steel trap.
No, you don't.
You
do on things that you want.
I have a memory like a steel trap, rusty and illegal in 43 states. Okay, so on to UVB. So and Angie, you said it perfect. UVB. I'm going to say UV lighting because it's a full spectrum. So 5 years ago, hey, do leopard geckos require UVB lighting? What's the answer? Do leopard geckos, do crested geckos require UVB lighting? What's the answer? And I think everybody in this chat can tell me almost verbatim what the answer will be. Leopard geckos and crested geckos are.
What? I'm sorry. I'm reading comments.
Do leopard geckos or crested geckos need UVB lighting? And the answer would be no, because leopard geckos and crested geckos are nocturnal. They don't require UVB. Now, somebody's going to clip this segment and say, Wally said, yeah. So 5 years ago, people started saying, maybe a little bit longer. I'll give credit to a really good friend of mine, Ryan McVeigh, who was one of the instrumental people in changing my mind around as well, because I was saying that too. Nocturnal, exactly. So Ryan started using words like crepuscular, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Crepuscular. That's my northern accent cutting in. What does crepuscular mean? It means that they're active during the dawn and dusk times of the day. They're active during times when there is some sunlight kind of out there. Do they need direct 10.0 UVB lighting? No. Do they need small amounts? There you go. Do they need small amounts? Absolutely. Small lights are beneficial. Small amounts of UV lighting is beneficial to any animal. I hesitated and almost said leopard geckos and crested geckos. Any animal. Not only do they need it from a health standpoint, there's a lot of proof that is out there that they need it from a mental standpoint to stimulate them mentally. That's
It's
what
kind of
they
like us needing vitamin D.
right. Pizza. I'm almost finished with mine. Almost. So it's I think by now, at this day and age, we all kind of understand that a lot of these animals, when you say they don't need UVB, and I'd like to change that. I'd like to have everybody change their saying, not to say UVB, but UV lighting. When we talk about UV lighting is beneficial. Now, here's what I'm going to tell the story just real quick. Here's what I've done in our facility. For our UV lighting, we no longer run it 8 to 10 hours. We run lighting about 10 hours during the summertime. 10 hours is a lot. 10 hours will turn a dish of water and start building up some algae in it after about a week or so if we don't change it out. UV lighting isn't required for 10, 12 hours a day. So for a number of these tanks, if you notice, these lights go off at 7 o'clock. I have to turn them on, but they also go on at, I should know these, but they go on at 9, they go off at 10, they go on at 1, they go off at 2, they go on and off 3 times during the day. And that's because animals don't require UV lighting 24/7. They don't require UV lighting for 8, 10, 12 hours. In fact, if you've ever seen an anole or a day gecko, they'll be located on the shady side of the tree, and they'll come out to the sun only for brief periods of time, and then they'll jump back to the shady side of the tree. Why is that? Because the sunny side is kind of hot, and they're getting too much UV lighting, so they'll come back. Now, the argument will be, well, I've had leopard geckos for 23 years, and I've never kept UV lighting on any of my leopard geckos. I use D3. For goodness sake, if you're not using UV lighting for your animals, supplement with a calcium with D3, low phosphorus, for the benefit of your animals. You have to do one of the two. You really do. Okay, we've got a good. I don't know if I missed anything, Nanette.
No,
I
was rushing through.
So if anyone has UV questions, contact me. Send me a message on Facebook, and we'll talk. Let's talk about that. If you don't understand the concept, if you have questions, if you aren't clear on anything, and again, if you've had animals for a long period of time that are crepuscular, then and you haven't used UV lighting, you're probably using the calcium with D3. Okay, Wally, is the care of gargoyle geckos much different than a crested gecko? So let me point out the differences in care. Crested geckos are like 12-year-olds. They're jumping all over the place. They're energetic. They're moving. They're not always active, but again, we're talking about Danielle, and not active during the day, but let's talk about dawn and dusk. They're all over the place. They're looking for food. They're looking for warmth. They're looking for maybe a little dating action between a boy and a girl. Crested gecko. They're always active. Yeah, I said it. I went there. So gargoyle geckos are not like that at all. So crested geckos you're going to find at the top of the trees. You're going to find a little bit lower at the top of the trees. I shouldn't have said it like that. You're going to find at the top of your enclosures. You're going to find at the bottom of your enclosures. So they're going to be all over the place. Gargoyle geckos are going to sit on a piece of cork bark about 4 to 6 inches off of the substrate for like hours and hours and hours. Critter Corner, next live is Thursdays at 7 o'clock. So that's one big difference. Gargoyle geckos are less active than crested geckos. Another difference is the gargoyles get to be bigger than cresteds by about 10 to 15, 20%. Gargoyles are a little bit, from my experience, gargoyle geckos are a little bit more bitey. I'm not going to say that they're going to latch onto your finger, but in my experience, they're a little bit more. If you get bit by a crested gecko or a gargoyle, the chances are that you're probably getting bit by a gargoyle. Gargoyles can take a little bit more heat. 80 degrees isn't really super bad for gargoyles. In fact, for breeding purposes, 80, 82 is not bad at all. Crested geckos 82, you should really be thinking about where can I move these animals to get them a little cooled down. Protein. Gargoyle geckos need a little bit more protein than crested geckos. So we do not miss a week of feeding feeders to gargoyle geckos. We just don't. We don't do that. We feed our gargoyle geckos 1 to 2 times a week with feeder insects and diet the rest of the times.
Go back up. I
Yeah.
starred one.
Okay.
It was a UV.
Could you use the older UV lights for lower UV needing enclosures? I've thought about that. I don't know. I don't think that would be an issue. I think what you're going to have to watch is, the older ones deteriorate in their efficacy pretty quickly after 6 to 7 to 8 months. Efficiency. They're going to go down. It's it's an old pharmaceutical phrase when I worked in pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't believe it.
No, I didn't.
So UVs are going to go down pretty quickly. So you just don't want it to be, okay, I think there's enough, maybe, okay, there's none. There's no benefit to this UV lighting anymore because it's so old. And it's, it's going to catch you like that. Okay. Other questions? I'm just kind of reading through it.
I was reading down as you were going.
Okay, I'm going to hide that one.
Flirting with my
Romeo and
crested
Juliet.
gecko.
I should sing the Taylor Swift song now. Romeo.
No.
Okay.
You don't need to sing that one. Have Crystal come and sing it to you.
It is okay. Here we go. My female gargoyle keeps flirting with my male crested gecko. I don't think it works that way. No, it doesn't work that way.
Please
No.
don't.
No, your German Shepherd should not be asking your
Cat.
your cat out on a date.
Hey, you
No, it
want
doesn't work
dessert?
that. Sure. Okay, we had a couple of stars here. Oh my gosh. So here's our second course, folks. What is this, Nanette?
This is a dark chocolate salted
We got
caramel.
that one. UV lighting, yes or no? We got that one. Thanks again, Angie, for that wonderful UV question. Okay, Critter Corner, we're going to show yours. We're kind of away from some of the other topics a little bit. Hey, Major, what kinds of geckos do you have? If this is for me, everybody can answer. Please answer, I'm going to come back to yours, Emily, in just a second get back to the crested gargoyle question. What kinds of geckos do you have? I'll start off the conversation. Everybody can chime in here. I can't not eat this. This is dark chocolate. It's turning my teeth black. So, what kind of geckos do I have? What kind do we have, Nanette?
You have crusteds, you have Leos, you have gargoyles, you have Picta. Oh, good Lord, you've got...
We only have 6.
Wrong. You've got a ton of different micros. You've got, I can't even say them all the right way. I know we have brevis. You've got some Coleonyx.
So I'm going to jump.
I don't know. You've got just a whole...
Lots of different.
Bandits.
So we have probably about 50 different species of geckos. Bandits, caves, Australian geckos, other than the ones that Nanette mentioned. We have some bandit. We have some micro geckos. We have some Pseudodactylus. Oh, what other kinds? Oh shoot!
I don't know
Chondrodactylus, Pachyodactylus, all kinds of different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have crested geckos and morning geckos. Cool.
Okay, Emily wanted to know something about the crested and the gargoyle, though.
Yeah. There we go.
Which is more rewarding.
Which is more rewarding, gargoyles. Okay, so here's my point. So crested geckos, like a bazillion different morphs / traits. I think there's only 3 or 4 morphs, but there's more morphs than that with the different combinations. But excuse me. From a breeding standpoint and a genetic standpoint, crested geckos by far. From an interesting standpoint and care standpoint, especially for us at shows, because we sell a lot of crested geckos to families. I'll sell a crested gecko to a family way before I'd sell a gargoyle, because gargoyles are little lumps on cork bark. They just don't move enough. They're not active enough. Oh, there's the gargoyle. 14 days later, oh, it's in the same exact spot. So what's the attraction of gargoyles? Well, they're solid.
Beautiful.
They're beautiful. They're, you can do the reds, the oranges, the pinks, the yellows, any of those kinds of colors. So it's not like they don't have any traits. They have some really super nice topics. They have some really super nice colors. I just looked at the word topic. Any fat tails? We don't have any fat tails. I was in search of some fat tails earlier in the year, but I couldn't find any from the traits that I wanted that were available for breeding purposes this year. I still might probably get into fat tails in the next couple of months. Probably be looking for fat tails at Schaumburg. Oh, J-Buck. Crusties, Leos, Gargoyles, Lychees, Picta, and Melii. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Thanks for sharing, Frank. Other questions? Okay.
Angie said another good topic would be cohabitation.
So I'm
like
gonna jump into that for like 2 minutes, and I'm gonna bail on that one. I just had questions the last couple of weeks on cohabbing crusted geckos. Should they? No problems. Only for breeding all the time, or never, ever, ever. So if somebody answered D, never, ever, ever, then we're going to run out of crusted geckos eventually. Cohabbing all the time. This is a 2-hour discussion, but I'm going to say the big movement in the last couple 3 years. Here's our myth. The big movement in the last few years has been, don't cohabitate it, killing your animal, you're doing damage. And I've cohabitated for 20 some years and never, ever, ever had a problem. Do I consider lost tails a problem? No. Do I consider issues where I do see an animal losing weight and I'll have to move them after a certain amount of time? If you're doing the cohabitation, when you introduce, watch your animals. Watch your animals to make sure both are eating. If you're going to cohabitate, always watch your animals to make sure they're eating and you don't have one bullying. And bullying doesn't mean, actual injuries or scars or anything like that. It means that one of them isn't eating as much as the other one. Pull it out immediately, put it in another tank. Don't cohabitate those two animals together. Have I had situations like that? Yes. How rare is it? Very rare. Finally, with cohabitation, then I'm going to move on to another topic. Finally, with cohabitation, my feeling is that as long as you're giving your animals a cool down period, you're only cohabiting your animals for a certain number of months. Weeks is fine. Months, you're kind of stretching it. As long as you're pulling your animals away from each other to give them a rest from each other, then cohabiting isn't that big of a deal. Now, we don't. What you just said, pull them away from each other so that they can have a break from you. And the reason you want them to have a break isn't necessarily because the female, oh my gosh, poor female's laying eggs all the time, she's getting thin. No, that's not the problem. That's not the problem at all. At least in my my situation, because again, we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of breeders and never had a problem with the thin female. The problem is that the males focus too much on getting their job done as a male and won't eat in the summertime. And they'll eventually, by the fall, we've had males just, kind of worrisome thin. So Wally just said, only cohabitate, only keep them together for a few months at the most. Well, but you just said that you don't do that. You keep them together all year long. Well, 90% of our animals we keep together all year long. Why is that? Because our facility is in our basement. It depends on your situation. Gosh, have I said that before once or twice? It depends on your situation. Keep them together. If you have a situation where you can naturally cool them down to a point, our basement, drops down into the 60s-ish in certain rooms. I feel like, the old Batman show with Mr. Freeze, where he could control the whole room. Some of our rooms drop down significantly from summertime to wintertime, and it really cools down the cresses, and they just lose interest in doing anything other than eating. And we go from feeding every 2 days to every 3 to every 4 days in the wintertime. So yeah, JP just showed up again, and yeah, we're still yapping.
Named as Viper Gecko Waffles.
Yes, yes.
Cool.
Very
think
cool.
I tagged, yeah.
This one right here.
Yeah.
So breeder pairs, not FF or MM. Never. Thank you. And you know, unfortunately, I kind of forget about saying this, and I really, really should. Thank you, ML, for saying this. Never, ever, 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 ever keep two males together for crusted geckos. There's a handful of geckos that we keep males together, like viper geckos, and it's not a big deal. Never do that with crusted geckos. Never, ever do that with crusted geckos. Ever. Females together, two females together. I've never had a problem with two females together. I have had problems with males and females where females will sometimes drop some weight because the male is bullying her. And usually it's within weeks. You know, within weeks you'll start seeing, you know, not enough food being eaten by two animals or three animals, because we sometimes keep a one and a two. One male, two females. So I'll pull the females out or the male out, and I'll redirect to another male or something. So never ever two males. Females are okay. Male and female. And again, whenever you have two animals together, you should always be watching them at least once a week. Okay, I've had a problem with two female crested geckos, but only one time. That's all. It happens. It does happen. I've been very fortunate that we've never had that. Go ahead,
Julie.
Are you here? My hubby needs another room then, because no more kids here. Yeah, you need a sign on in your house somewhere. No cohabitation. Cohabitation months 0. What did I just miss? Oh, we saw that.
Somebody had a problem with a crested mix. 2 crested females, but only one time.
Yeah.
Most of the time we don't have a big issue with that, it seems.
Nope. Any other myths that you can? We only covered one. I thought we would get through at least 2 questions.
Well, the other next question that was my favorite one.
What's that?
Social
media.
Mm.
So, social media, good thing or evil? What are your thoughts? We're going to go another couple of minutes here, folks.
I don't say it's good or bad. I think it's right in the middle. I mean, it depends on who you are and what you post and what you react to. If you don't like something, you don't have to comment all the time. You can be quiet about it and just let it go. It is what you make it. You were right, J-Bug. If you're out there just to show people positive things or share info about your family or recipes or your favorite activities, that's one thing. But when it starts getting the drama end of it, there's just too much of it. People.
So are you saying there's no drama with recipes? That casserole that you made, you put corn in it, you idiot. You should never put corn in it.
Perfect example was yesterday on social media when we had that horrific car accident in Pewaukee. And people started ripping on the driver and accusing them of eating a Big Mac when he was driving. And it was just released an hour ago. He had a seizure. He had no control over what happened, but people just get negative and I got to stop talking. It just frustrates me when it happens that way.
You're going to stop now. When we get done with this live, that's all I'm going to hear about, folks, for 2 hours.
No, you're not.
Angie is saying some people suck, so kind of evil. You made a comment earlier. So the question is, social media, good or evil? You said it's right in the middle. I disagree 1,000%.
I don't mean it's in the middle. I mean,
I'm using your words against you.
It could go either way.
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. It can go either way. It's what you make of it. J-Bug, exactly. Yes. It's what you make of it. So here's my statement. It's evil. It's excruciatingly evil when somebody with the talent and experience and knowledge and tried and true methods doesn't post on social media because they're called out no matter what they say. So I have very, very, very good friends in the hobby, in the gecko world, that know a lot about a lot. And I see questions all the time. Well, with this rare animal, should I keep the male and female together or and cohabitate or not? And it's crickets, because nobody keeps those except for 4 people. 4 people, you should be posting and helping this person. Oh, heck no. Heck no. So the problem there is that, we're not getting the responses that we really should. The knowledge is lost. Have I done that in the past? Yes. Where if somebody asks, can you cohabitate? What's your experience with cohabitating crested geckos? I'm out. I'm not going to post my experience, because I know that of the 20 different responses, probably 16 are going to be, thanks, Wally, for the information and your experience. I agree or I don't agree. And that's super cool. But, then there'll be 4 posts that say, well, it shows what you know about crested geckos. And that's where we run into problems, because, and I'm not saying 20 years is, or whatever is, the end all. What I'm saying is that I've been through a lot of bad and wrong and failures and changed and made it better. To be able to bring that to the table and say, this is what you really shouldn't do, and I'm doing this, I've changed to do this because it's worked. That's gone, because other people have 2 years of good experience by doing something maybe good or maybe bad, but they had those 2 years. So here's my, if I could say one, I'm going to get on my soapbox again. Comment with this in mind, that people have bad days and say some things on social media that maybe they wouldn't say if they were having a good day. Keep in mind that a response on social media, it does not mean it's 1,000% right. And it also doesn't mean that it's 1,000% wrong. Good friend Julie Bergman shared with me a long time ago, when I wrote something that was wrong by an error that I made, incorrect information, and she corrected me in such a, I'm talking to you like you and I are talking face to face right now, instead of 1,000 miles away, and I'm just writing something on a keyboard. So if you can keep that in mind, I think the whole world will be better, and rainbows and unicorns. It's hard. Simple. I didn't ever turn on the light. I just realized that you're in the dark. So
probably a good
just
thing.
treat social media as as a tool. It's a tool in your pocket, and take everything that's on social media with a grain of salt. That's why when Laura in the beginning said, well, I know what you're going to say, ask 3 different people. From a research standpoint, talk to me, talk to 2 other people. Don't take what Wally says as gospel. Don't take what Joe says as gospel. Don't take compare. Look at nature. You make the decision on what's right or wrong. We'll take one more question here. Okay,
that's not a question.
Okay, let's talk about that. My son started a YouTube channel, and it showed him your YouTube on how to handle criticism. People were mean to him in the comments, and I was so proud to see what he said. Thank you for your opinion. Oh, I had somebody just today or yesterday, it all blends into now, I don't know, say exactly that. They said, well, you really shouldn't be doing this because you could do this. Thank you. Thank you very much for your comment and your opinion. I appreciate that. We'll take it under consideration. And bail. On things like that, I bail. And don't take it personal. Just know that some people are going to say things, and there's no way around it. Good for your son, J-Bug. If he has any questions, not that I'm an expert, but I would certainly love to help. We have a new person in the chat right here.
Kern.
This Chris Kern. I don't know who that is, but the internet is a scary place sometimes, J-Bug. The mindset that I always have when streaming is that everyone has their own opinion, and it's completely okay to have one, but it doesn't have to match mine. Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad he said that, because I don't match his a lot. I'm just kidding. Love you, bud.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just bit my tongue.
Who dat?
So, you do, Chris, you do live streams, and that's always harder. You'll see folks, if you've been to any number of live streams that we've done, there is very rare that we ban somebody from sharing their opinion. The things that we don't want is,
There goes my phone.
sharing bad sites. We don't like people cursing aggressively. We certainly don't like anybody bullying or belittling anybody else. And we don't like, we've had some good shares of videos because you guys are fantastic and you're here not to share your YouTube as your main purpose. Please share your YouTube. Please share your Instagram and all that. But we do have occasionally somebody that will jump in and without commenting and being a part of the conversation will share links to their sites or their YouTube or whatever. And we boot them pretty quick. We don't boot them.
No.
The hammer
knows.
comes through and knocks them down and out.
Does it well.
Yeah, the scammers. It depends on your live stream, and so maybe someday we'll be hit with those when we get to be Mr. Beast or somebody's popularity. But we've been very, very, very fortunate.
Oh, Julie, that was our other son, Tim.
Oh, Chris did the shirts.
Christopher's probably going, what?
Can you call him Chris?
No, his name is Christopher.
Oh, it says right here, Chris.
I named him Christopher, and that's what he will be called.
Any more stars? I thought you. Okay, we did that. Wally, which is more rewarding. We did that one.
That one.
Super Leaders Pair. We did that one. Okay, my son started YouTube. Okay, cool.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
What's the most popular week for travel in the United States out of the year? What is the most popular week?
Vacation week. When you take a vacation.
Go to the summertime. Pick a week in the summertime.
No
worries,
when
Julie.
You take vacation in the summertime.
When? What week? It says.
Oh, what week? Oh, what week in the summertime? I'm gonna say.
Not Memorial Day.
No, I'm gonna say 4th of July. No, it's not 4th of July. Is it?
It's close. It's the second week in July is the most popular week.
Really?
Isn't that interesting? Speaking of the 4th of July.
You guys are really close. Angie, I would have said spring break if I would have had the smarts to say that. Good answer. I'm going to say it anyways. Spring break. Is that the right answer? Spring break? No?
I just told you.
Oh.
What shirt can you share on Dad? What dirt can you share on your dad? Oh, that could be Dad. What was the tallest record?
Frank, have your finger on the mute button for Chris Kern if he comes back and shares some bad dirt, okay? Just to let you know.
How tall is the Guinness World Record holding tallest sandcastle? How tall was the tallest sandcastle?
37 feet.
A little bigger.
Frank, be ready. 38 feet. 39 feet.
45.
45. That's
going
pretty doggone. Yeah, I was going to go one by one until 186 feet. One more, Nanette, before Christopher comes in. I have none, unfortunately.
Good one. What popular drink?
Go ahead.
Okay. What popular drink was originally invented as an ice cream topping? I had no idea. This one was kind of a weird one. Popular drink.
Well, I'm going to say, so you had the fountain drinks back in the 30s and 40s. I'm going to say, oh, careful there, but I should tell you the story about Diet Coke and the fish one. That's dirt on you, bud.
Yeah, that's you, not him.
Ovaltine?
No.
I thought that was a great
That's a good answer, but no.
Christopher, how about the first time I drove your what was it? It wasn't a Camaro, it was a Thunderbird, right?
Thunderbird. He never had a Thunderbird.
What did he have?
Did he?
Did you have a Camaro? What was that first? What was the first?
Root beer.
I was thinking
Not
root beer
orange
too.
soda.
Orange soda? Cream soda?
Nope,
Quick?
Not quick. This is way out there.
Oh no, he's coming with the dirt.
It was Hawaiian Punch. Is that just bizarre?
In 1,000
The
years, I couldn't have
Camaro.
come up with Hawaiian Punch. So what happened, Christopher? What happened with the Camaro?
Did
I'll
something
still
happen
say
with
that
his Camaro?
yeah, it was.
You did something to his
Stupid.
Camaro?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
Yeah,
I
no,
probably
you
did,
did.
but I didn't remember.
You forgot about it because I.
So
I
what
probably,
happened? He's
I
asking
probably,
you what happened.
You can tell the story. So I
I don't
probably
remember it.
paid him off not to break the news to you that it was me
This
that
is your
did this.
story there, big guy.
All right,
Oh, listen
so-
to him. Big talk.
Christopher gets this Camaro, and it's quick. It was an old Camaro. Christopher brings it home, and usually I would go, Christopher, why are you buying junk cars like this? And the Camaro comes rolling into the driveway. It's like, yeah, this is a car. This is a muscle car. So let me drive. So I got in it, and we get down in the neighborhood, and I jumped on it a little bit coming down a hill, and swung it around the corner and everything. And a good friend of ours, father, son on the baseball team, comes running out, slow that car down. And he had all the right in the world, and he should have done that because I was driving way too fast in the neighborhood. So we go out, and yeah, I was driving pretty quick, and we get it back to the
How
house,
little, he says.
and I get it into the garage.
Oh, I do remember.
And I put it in the garage. Well, there's one thing that you should be doing if you park a car. You should be either putting on the parking brake, or you should put it in gear, and so it doesn't roll. Well, sure enough, our garage has just the slightest, like a 0.005 incline, and it rolled out of our garage. I don't know who found it. I think Christopher found
You
it.
did a 20-foot burnout in our neighborhood.
I'm guessing I did. So out of the garage, and luckily, it didn't go all the way down the driveway and into our neighbor's yard. It luckily stopped partway down the driveway. Now that was the good news. The bad news was that what stopped it was my brand new Infinity. I think it was a couple of years old. My brand new Infinity had just. And it, the funny thing is, it didn't, come down and hit the bumper and do some damage to the bumper. It came down and rolling and right down the whole side of my Infinity, and it eventually stopped. Luckily, my Infinity stopped his Camaro from rolling all the way down.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, that was criminal.
Mm-mm-mm.
So that's my story,
And you're sticking to it.
and I'm sticking to it.
Is that accurate, Mr. Christopher?
Is that pretty close to it? And then I blamed you. Well, you should be checking your car and making sure that it doesn't roll. It should have. I was the one that drove it. I think I did.
A
blame him for a while.
4-year-old car, he said.
Was it 4?
Yeah, he said it was 2004. He remembers the year. Way to go.
Wow. So 4 years old for me, that it still was a brand new car. All right.
All right.
We've got to finish our dinner.
We
You want one more question?
No, we have to you mentioned that we do this every Thursday night. Next Thursday night is the 4th of July.
Oh. So we will talk to Mike and Sue and see if they want to.
They aren't coming until Friday.
Oh, so it's 4th of July. Nobody is going
Nobody
to
is going
be
to
spending
be here.
time, and nobody should be spending time with Wally and Nanette on the 4th of July. Everybody should be celebrating the country and our independence. So
And your families.
and your families. So I never get to drive it back. Bought it and sold it for $2,000.
He bought it
So
for
next
$400.
Thursday night, I don't know if Critter is still here, but we will not
Right.
be having a show next week. I don't think we'll want to move it. I think Thursday nights work really, really well for us. So folks, have a great weekend.
Mhm.
No show for us. No reptile show for us. I'm thinking about for our Buy Me a Coffee members. I'm thinking very hard that maybe we have a live for our Buy Me a Coffee members and kind of open it up and we take a camera downstairs and do a live from the basement, which we've never ever done before. This is kind of a behind the scenes. You're saying no? We're going to talk about it tonight, Nanette and I. But for our Buy Me a Coffee members, watch your emails, watch posts on the Buy Me a Coffee site for an announcement that we might be doing a live from our facility sometime Saturday afternoon. If we do any, it's Saturday afternoon. So enjoy this weekend. Enjoy the 4th. Be safe. Be safe.
Yes.
And enjoy your animals and the hobby. Be nice on Facebook and social media. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
And putting up with our